This is the Traveling Golfer Podcast, number 3. How did that happen so quickly? 3 weeks, and we're zipping right along here.
Well, you know, we got a master at the controls, and then I just kind of here helping out a little bit.
I don't know that I can really take credit for being a master at the controls, as it took me 3 times to start the show today. But nevertheless, that's often how many putts I take as well, if I was to be honest with you.
That's okay. I got kicked out of my house today.
Why?
Because I've been there too long now, and that voice from the house came on and said, "It's time for you to go someplace."
That's nice.
Yeah.
Was that Alexa telling you that by any chance?
Yeah, because, you know, I kicked that Bixby person out. She was useless. She came with the Samsung 8, but I don't think she got it a grade 8.
It's not easy to make Siri get what you want either. Don't kid yourself.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and you'll find it on Spotify, and you'll find it on YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you're not finding it on the place you listen to your podcast out, let us know, because we want to get it listed there too. And look, the last couple of episodes, we've been to Ottawa, and then we went to French Lick, which is an amazing resort opportunity.
Yes, Southern Indiana.
And this week we're going to stay right here in Ontario again, because the mission is, while we're recording these, Claudio, we're kind of all locked down a little bit.
Yeah, and we still don't know about the border and all that kind of stuff. Not to say that people from the border across the border wouldn't love to come to this place.
No, absolutely.
And for us in Toronto area, it's just a couple of hours down the road.
But we are looking at trips that you could do without getting on a plane, frankly, because that could be one of the last opportunities that we're chasing around as travelers. And there's a lot of great golf within a drive. And today is a great example of that if you live in Ontario.
That's right. This is a short drive.
It is.
When a good drive is or when a short drive is a good drive.
That's right.
I meant to say.
You're right, because we are in the GTA. But and if, by the way, you're traveling from outside of the GTA, or outside of Ontario, it's a great opportunity to visit Toronto for a couple of days and then have a golf getaway and visit the Niagara region, which is stunning.
Exactly. You gave it away.
Oh, yeah. Did I?
We're going to where the roar of the falls is.
I did give it away.
We are going down to Niagara Falls and particularly we're going to look at the Niagara Parks and the 3 great golf courses that they have. 2 of them are McBroom and I can't remember.
Well, we're going to find out. We've got an expert. We've got an expert on hand with us.
Graham Cook. That's it.
Okay, there you go. Cook. I could see it. I could see it ruminating in your eyes.
Yes.
You were like, hold on, I've got it. Don't go anywhere.
Yes. And the other's a Stanley Thompson, right along the Niagara Parkway. And you can actually hear the roar of the falls there. And if you ever get up above, you can see the gorge, and it's a fantastic view.
Well, I'm a huge fan of visiting the Niagara area. In fact, when my kids were young, we would go and do it as a weekend trip. My buddies and I have certainly done golf trips, and when we talk about the parks in Niagara, it is one of the most remarkable things in this area is just the parks alone. Tell us about today's guest.
Well, our guest today is Kim Viney. She is the senior business development person for Niagara Parks. So not only would she be responsible for making the till ring at the golf course, but for everything around the parks. So, and it's a funny thing that her and I have somewhat of a similar background, going back to the ski industry days, way back.
I thought for sure I was going to hear some prison stories here, but ski industry days, who knew that you've only ever had a life of leisure, haven't you?
Yeah.
You lived the life of a Monaco prince.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just jealous about it. That's all. All right. Well, let's if we can take a quick trip, not too far outside of the GTA to the Niagara region, and have a visit with our guest today, Kim. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm great. I'm even better given the fact that we got the go-ahead to start opening our courses.
Hey!
Absolutely. Yes.
Very, very excited. I can tell you our golf team have been very, very busy today, and the phones have been ringing off the hook.
Kim, okay, what is your actual position, and describe your gig to us, if you don't mind?
Sure. So I am the Senior Director of Business Development. And as such, I essentially see every part of the operation that rings any of the cash registers. So all of the retail, culinary, guest services, group sales, golf, anything that falls within business development falls under me. So very busy job, but very exciting. And it's been great. I joined about a year ago and I've had a blast.
I have to tell you, I probably have you to thank in the last year then, because my last golf trip was to the Niagara area, and it was, we did that beautiful trek right along the Parkway, which is a stunning golf, actually. So that was that's why I was wondering. I'm like, I wonder if we made a difference in her day. We behaved, I promise you.
Oh yeah, sure.
We didn't golf well. Tell us about, first of all, the setting that is the Niagara region for anybody who doesn't have access to it like we do.
Sure. So the Niagara Parks itself actually goes right from Lake Erie up to Lake Ontario. So we are located on 56 kilometers of the Niagara River Parkway. So all of our property borders the Niagara River. And we also have 1,300 hectares of land. So that's almost 3,500 acres. So it's an enormous property to care for. And part of our mandate back when we were established in the 1800s, late 1800s, was we are the cultural and environmental stewards of the Niagara River corridor. So we take that very seriously.
Yeah, you can tell because it's kept immaculately. Claudia, when you drive down in that area, it makes an impact on the world because everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we consider ourselves a global address.
Yeah.
And we feel the responsibility of, we represent Canada. We don't just represent the Niagara area. We represent the province and we represent Canada.
Well, you might also say that we have one of the great wonders of the world. I don't know if it ever made it into the top, but I think it's in my books, it's number 8.
Yeah, that's what I have heard. And it, continues to be stunning. Even, I thought I might get used to it, but it still takes my breath away when I'm standing there.
Yes, and the one course, the Stanley Thompson course, Whirlpool, is right there. And it's
yes, it is.
Always
it's got
in
great
shape.
vistas.
Yes, great. And what a clubhouse you have.
Yeah,
and
it's beautiful.
The food is fantastic. You can sit outside, overlook the 18th green, and you can actually hear the roar of the falls from there. And if you can't, you can imagine it.
Yeah, and actually, if it's a really windy day, occasionally you can still feel a bit of mist coming up the river.
Yeah, yes, you can. That's right. We had that experience. It was an early morning with a bit of a brisk breeze, and we were like, wow, we're actually getting mist off the falls right now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I don't play golf if it's windy.
Oh, it's the only thing that might improve my game, Claudia. You're too fussy for good reason, actually.
Actually,
at least it gives you an excuse.
Yes, and the other two courses, they are 10-15 minutes down the road on a
that's right.
Right off of a pretty historic site.
Yeah, it's all part of the Chippewa Battlefield. And so, extremely historical significance when it comes to the War of 1812, as the entire Niagara area does. So we've got actually 2 18s and a 9-hole course there. So we've got, it's all part of Legends of the Niagara. So we have Battlefield, we have Ushers Creek, and the 9-hole is Chippewa.
Yes, and those two courses, I would put them right up there as world class because it's as good as we have.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. And actually, next year, Battlefield is hosting the Canadian Summer Games event.
Oh, what a great event to have there.
Yes. Yeah. So Niagara was the winning bid. And so Niagara Falls, our sort of central property, will be hosting the closing ceremonies. And Battlefield will be the course of choice for the competition.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. And that's another pretty spectacular clubhouse with a setting that overlooks 2 incoming holes. And you can sit out there. And I remember being out there having a couple of triple bogeys. And those are the only triple bogeys that I like, are the ones that are in the can. And you can watch other golfers come in and dunk their tee shot, or not their tee shots, but you can your tee shots.
You're not a
too,
heckler. You're not a 3-beer heckler at the last hole for anybody, are you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, well that's good because I'm that guy struggling at the last hole.
You know what? It's not just everybody and anybody can struggle on the last hole.
The bigger the audience, the better the struggle too.
It's so true. It is so true. Well, why don't you guys do me a favor and paint a picture for me of a getaway to Niagara for a weekend and how you might plan things out that you get away and enjoy a little bit of the scenery, a little bit of the environment, and some golf at the same time.
Well, Kim, do you want to take that away, or do you want me to go for it?
Why don't you start with what the Pretourette might look like, and then I'll pick it up when we get into the park itself.
Well, once you're on your way, and I actually was on your website, I noticed that you do some packaging with a couple of properties, the Comfort Inn and the Best Western, right in Niagara. And, you have options to stay and play the courses at the parks. You've got 3 right there, and obviously they're great packages, but there are many other golf courses around there, so it doesn't have to be just for a weekend because there's a ton of things to do as well. So, you've got Niagara on the lake, you've got the wineries, and if you're a historical buff at all, which we've touched on a bit, there are a ton of other things to do. So, you're going to run out of time before you run out of things to do.
I think you're right in that region for sure.
Now, and we've actually, since we posted those stay and play packages, we've actually added the Old Stone Inn, the River Rapids Inn, and the Ramada too. So we've got 5 options right now for guests with varying price points and locations. And then what's great too is that, we don't need to just be a golfer to enjoy the park. So perhaps you want to play golf, but maybe you have a spouse or significant other or family members that want to join you. And there's so many options within the parks itself between the Whitewater Walk and the Aero Car, Butterfly Conservatory, Table Rock itself. So lots of ways. And we have a WeGo Pass. So you actually can just park your car and take advantage of our WeGo bus system to get through the corridor of the park. So really lots of options and lots of options for various interest groups too.
The WeGo is amazing. I have to tell you, it is just such a constant stream of transportation. You don't wait very long to get anywhere in the main corridor area, the main core of downtown Niagara, that's for sure.
Well, does the WeGo take you to the wineries as well?
Yeah, we've got a new partnership with Ambassadors, and they've got their double deck buses. So they actually have 2 open air buses. And this year, assuming things get sort of open and rolling again, they're looking at doing a hop on, hop off tour, which would include some of the wineries. So that's a new offering that we're trying to get established for this year too.
That's cool.
That would be good because, we can't drink and drive, so we've got to be responsible.
It's true. And once you get to these places, the one good thing I will say is let's say you do a stay and play, one of the packages that they have available, and you want to see the area. There is a lot of ways to get around in a small area. If you wanted to go downtown for an evening to the casino and out for dinner and stuff like that, easily accessible from where you're staying. So It is all central, even though you can get a couple of minutes off the beaten path and you're out in the middle of glorious nature.
Yes, and what a change to the downtown area from, let's say night and day from 10 or 15 years ago.
Yes.
But every time I go down there, it seems like there's something new and something modern, and it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Tons of people.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's the care that the parks team takes of both the parkway lands and all of the gardens. It's a pretty exquisite place to be. I feel very fortunate that that's where I have landed with this job.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to wake up in the morning and go to work. I'm absolutely sure of that. Is there any sort of, this is just for me, if you guys don't mind, you must know a couple of the secret things you could do in Niagara that most people don't know about that are just wicked awesome to do. Any suggestions?
That's a good question because I'm new to the Niagara area myself, actually. I've just moved there this past year.
Oh, that's true. Well, here, I'll tell you one that's really good. You can go behind the falls. Did you know that?
That one is pretty special. Oh, actually, you know what we did this year? We've been running these Sparkling Sunday events. So we've actually been doing yoga sessions early in the morning before we open up to the public. And we do yoga at the platform down at the base of the falls.
Come on.
Seriously. So that has been amazing.
That's cool.
And then to cap that off, we added another program, which was meditative sessions down on the boardwalk platform at Whitewater Walk, right on the edge of the Niagara River. So, we're really trying to get people to explore the property in different ways.
Yeah, that's a really great way to do it. They're going to find places in the park that they didn't even know existed, even if they're local that way.
That's right. And I was sharing earlier when I was on an earlier call, because I come out of the ski industry, I actually took Whirlpool this year and converted it into the Great Canadian Winter Lodge. So we actually opened the property for snowshoeing this year. We put in a really lovely comfort food menu. We had the clubhouse became this beautiful winter lodge. And on February 8th, I looked what was the closest Saturday to a full moon. So February 8th, we had a full moon snowshoe dinner. So guests were welcome to go out snowshoeing first. And then we had a beautiful 5-course meal inside the clubhouse with lights augmenting the full moon that came out that night.
Oh, yes. That sounds amazing.
You guys have
it was spectacular.
You guys have gone over and above when it comes to the culinary side at the parks. Even when I've been there for a few functions, they've been outstanding. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on some of the opportunities even at the clubhouses.
Yeah, so we've really been focusing on our culinary side, and we've been part of Feast on Ontario for several years now. So especially in the summer months, typically up to 60-65% of our culinary sourcing is coming locally. So either we source in Niagara wherever possible, then obviously in the province, and then certainly Canada. And because we have such a multitude of wine and spirit providers now, 95% of our beer, wine, and spirits are all sourced in Niagara now. So we feel very strongly that we contribute to our local economy. And we want to showcase what Niagara has to offer because we do have a worldwide audience. But it also helps drive our small businesses as well.
And of all the wineries that we have down in Niagara, which is your favorite? Or do you have one? Or are you allowed to say?
Oh, I'm probably not allowed to say. We actually support about 52 of them. Yeah, but one of the things I've very much enjoyed since moving there, of course, is trying all these very lovely spots. And we're also, we've been running as part of our culinary program, they're called pop-up dinners. So we've been setting up dinners for about 130 people at different spots throughout the park. So last year, so before I joined, they actually set up dinner out on one of the greens at Legends and served dinner out on the greens on a beautiful evening.
Wow, and I bet you there was some wine pairing that went along with that meal.
There was some significant wine pairing. So that's, for each of these dinners, we partner with a different wine and beer provider and allow them to feature their products, give them an opportunity to speak to our guests. So that's been a really, I would say, sort of special connection we've had between, taking people into areas of the parks that they wouldn't normally visit and then showcasing what our culinary team can do, but also bringing in those wine and beer partners so that we feature them too.
It's amazing because culinary is a big deal in Niagara. They have one of the most amazing culinary institutes in the world there right now, right in the midst of all of these amazing wineries and this beautiful background with the Niagara Escarpment. It's the perfect venue for us to really go and have some leisure time here in Ontario.
Exactly. And I have to say, I've whenever I go anywhere like California, and I went to Argentina, and I did a little bit of wine touring there. And I have to say that in Niagara, we are so far ahead when it comes to the presentation and the opportunity to sample and visit and have a good time.
Yeah.
In some of these other places, going for a wine tasting is like going to somebody's barn or
absolutely.
Something like
yeah.
that.
No,
It's
they've made a
just-
real experience of it in Niagara, and it's very wise of them to do that. If people wanted to find out more about what they can plan and do in the parks and in that area, would you recommend any one particular place that they go online?
Yeah, so certainly our NiagaraParks.com site has links to everything imaginable within the parks itself, and also to some of our partners themselves. So NiagaraParks.com would be the great place to start. From there, you can get right into our golf pages, and that will lead you to all of our stay and play packages and other options. Also, of course, this time of year or this season of the year, the COVID-19 issues have made a big impact on our
Yeah.
operations. So it's also the place to stay in touch with what's open, what progress is being made. And, certainly in terms of the golf itself, we'll be updating all of our golfers with what will be the requirements moving forward as we ease into golf.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that you're opening back up, that you got the word to do so, and we'll be looking to you, as I'm sure most of Canada and the world will, on how we get back to doing golf. It makes perfect sense. You and I have said this since the beginning. It's the perfect social distance, especially your game, because you're headed right to the hole, and I'm over here in the woods a little bit. I'm a nature buff.
Well, me too.
Come and join me in the woods, but you won't hit your ball there ever.
Nah.
Kim, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope that we get the opportunity to bring you back on as the season continues and get an update how things are going.
That would be great. Thanks very much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kim.
Well, that's a really good primer for anybody who's thinking about going to Niagara and taking advantage of that. And you know what? Maybe due to this COVID-19 thing and people's reservation about traveling, I certainly have it myself, this will be a big boon for those golf courses that deserve the attention.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to go.
All right.
And I can't wait to go anywhere.
I know. I can't wait to drive with a purpose in mind. You know what I mean? Or wear shoes. All right. Well, many thanks to Kim for joining us. As we make our way to the end of the show, one of the things we always do, my good friend Claudio here, not just a connoisseur and a pretty damn good cook, if I follow your Instagram right. Either you've got a chef on board or you know what you're doing.
I like to cook.
Yeah, you sure do.
It's good. And I've had plenty of time to practice.
Why am I ordering pizza when all you have to do is bring me something nice that was left over? Well, think about it for next time. I'll put it out there.
Next time.
Let's do what we always do and take a visit to the wine cellar. Last week we took a departure out of the wine cellar.
We did.
And we went down Bourbon Street. But this week we are back in the wine cellar.
If we went to Bourbon Street, we'd still be there.
You're damn right we would.
COVID or no COVID.
I think you might be right. All right. So anyway, having said that, that just gave you a little bit of insight into our personalities. Back in the wine cellar this week.
Let's go.
Wine. Okay.
Let's stick to Canadian wine.
Good point.
Why not?
Very suiting. What are we looking at?
Maybe some Niagara wines.
All right. Let's head down the QEW then toward Niagara. And what are we drinking?
Well,
not as we drive.
Not as we drive, of course. No. I guess there's a couple that stick in my mind that I've liked for a long time, and I still do. And one of them is from a little winery. I think it used to be called Lakeview Estates, and now it's called just Lakeview Wine Company.
Yeah.
But they had a Baco Noir, and they still do, sorry, Serenity. Quite nice, very full, rich, full-bodied, and, I like it when you open up the bottle and you pour a bit, you get that aroma that just makes you say, I want to drink more of this. And
a weightier wine will do that to you. It'll actually almost make you hungry for the grape that's in that. In that drink.
Once you see the nice, dark, rich colors, you know what you're in for.
What are you pairing it with?
And anything that's deep, full body and red, it's just natural for a meat, steak,
nice big thick steak,
pork chop.
What about alongside some pasta? Nice pasta.
Same.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Well, maybe for that we'll go to the other one down there is Trius that I really like. And you'll notice that it's in a big long neck bottle. It stands out. It's just called Trius Red, and it's a blend. It's Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and it might be a little, let's say, medium-bodied as opposed to the full-bodied Baco Noir.
Yeah.
And that would be just fine with pasta.
You're right. It would be. All right. Okay. So do you have any other, are these the two for this week?
No, we have a secret.
What?
A secret. Well, what's Niagara?
Could be a secret?
What's
Let's
Niagara
share it.
famous for?
Niagara is famous for...
When it comes to wine, I'm referring to.
Ice wine, isn't it?
Ice wine. Well, what if you don't like really sweet stuff?
Well, that's not ice wine, is it?
No, but yes, it is.
It is?
Yes. There's a company called Kittling Ridge. It's been around for a long time.
Of course, yeah.
And they make ice wine brandy.
Oh, I've heard this is kind of a rage going on right now. People
Well,
love it.
I've been loving it for a long time. And what it is, it's brandy that cuts the ice wine, so it's not really as sweet. So, yes, you can drink it, but pour it over some ice cream with raspberries and
Yes.
blueberries, and you've got quite a little dessert there.
Okay.
And it's like $20.
No kidding. It's
Yeah.
amazing if you, wow, for a brandy,
Ice wine brandy.
an ice wine brandy,
Yeah.
which is a really specific thing. That seems like a really good deal.
Because ice wine itself, it's usually, you're not going to get it for under $50.
Right.
And by the way, the other two, the Trius was, now we're all talking Canadian dollars here. So for you guys in the US, that's almost free. $25 is the Trius.
Yeah.
And I think Serenity Baco Noir is in the $15, $16 range.
That's all reasonable
Very
wines.
reasonable
And
for that
you know what?
quality.
They've had to compete in this market. That is why, really. Niagara's late to the game in the wine market overall in Canada. They had to make an impression. There was many years where they weren't producing the kind of grape that was required to actually be a wine industry. But they've come on strong in the last couple of decades.
Well, the area itself might not be exactly suited to producing those dark, rich reds. So, they have to do what they have to do to
Blend.
come up with those products.
Yeah.
And they've done an amazing job for what they have to work with. Absolutely.
Okay, today we visited the Niagara region. Last week we went to Indiana, and the week before we went to Ottawa. Where are we going next week?
We're going to go to one of our neighboring states,
All right.
just across the border, not New York, but Michigan.
Let's encourage you right now to subscribe to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to get in touch with Claudio, how do people do that?
TravelingGolfer.net. You will find us there. You'll find our podcast on there as well. And if you go to our YouTube channel, there's tons of videos from all over the world.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks, Claudio.
Anytime. Looking forward to next week.